This story is about a black man who has grown up in the United States. I remember how this kind of backhanded compliment hurt me, but it took me a long time to understand why it hurt. In truth, though, the comment rings true. But there is no amount of adaptation that can shield from racism in this country. In elementary school, I got a clear opinion that teachers didn't like me. I got into problems a lot, and one teacher gave remarks on my record sheet that I was amoral. In third grade, I had my first black teacher, and my entire thinking was changed. She told me that it was okay if I twisted in my room. She taught us about discrimination and nepotism and taught us to recite and understand poetry from the Black Arts movement. Despite racism in school, I never gave up and continued my studies. When I came to know that teachers and my classmates do not like me, I was disappointed. But I never thought of dropping my studies. I had in my mind that I have to become an educator and do something that the world can recognize me. I want to show the society that we have equal rights to study as the rest of the other students, and black people can also do something great. As I got older, I recognized that my mother saw racism around every corner. She believed that I would be the object of discrimination in school and maintained an exceptional, observant decision to protect me from it. She observed everything about my treatment in school, ready to jump at the smallest matters. I wasn't one of them who was delivering a speech to middle school's assembly, and so she inquired why I wasn't selected, and she insisted that I should be given a chance. One year, one of the few black students at my high school found a noose hanging in his locker one day. The culprit, a white student, was quickly discovered, and all he had to do to get out of trouble was issue a lame apology. I thought his punishment should have been more severe. I convinced my best friend to wear black armbands in school to protest. This act earned me no greater respect, and actually greater ridicule. Several of our teachers thought it was funny and even prompted our classmates to laugh at our expense. "Look at Jones," one teacher said, "starting a revolution." "Thank you, Mr. I forget your name." I recognized that, apart from my black armband scene, my survival strategy was to make myself as unthreatening as possible. I became so well practiced in the art of not offending racist white people that I ceased to become outraged by them. At least when they affected me directly. I am also encouraged by the quotes of Malcolm X, who reviewed the purposes of the black movement as human rights. Respect as human beings. That's what American black masses want. That's the true problem. The black masses want not to be shrunk from as though they are plague-ridden. They want not to be walled up in slums, in the ghettos, like animals. They want to live in an open, free society where they can walk with their heads up, like men and women. I consider that black people create a history that has a message for humanity. In this story, he discussed his fears that nobody likes him and is struggling with nepotism, discrimination, injustice, and racism that he was not able to understand at an early age. He writes this as a black person who also knows the white American world. There are ignorance and prejudice there, but there is also pain, suffering and struggle. He said, "I am grateful to my parents and teachers who helped me notice and name racism and discrimination. They have helped me understand my personal experience and, just as importantly, to see beyond it." He has become convinced that black liberation is bound up with true human freedom. This was the story of Brian Jones, who is an educator and activist in New York. He is the Associate Director of Education at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture.